Good morning. Good morning. It looks like I think the waiting room is starting to slow down. So I think we're going to go ahead and get it rolling here. Welcome to our quarter one collaborate, our membership roundtable. PMA's membership committee developed these quarterly virtual chats as a means for members, both new and experienced, the opportunity to get a quick refresher on some of the many tools that are at your disposal that were developed to enhance your membership experience. You will all have a chance to hear directly from some of our members via panel discussion as we head to the higher of the hour of this session. So keep in mind, we intend for these sessions to be very casual, so don't be afraid to participate. Drop your questions in the chat, raise your hand. If you're feeling especially froggy today, go ahead and unmute yourself. Ask questions, share tips and tools that have personally worked for you as we navigate through this discussion. So with that being said, my name is Candace Dwyer. I am the Director of Membership Sales and Engagement here at Property Management Association, but we want to know who you are too. So I want you all to run to the chat, run as fast as you can, and I want you to tell us your name, how long you've been in the industry, tell us what books are you reading, what's your TV show you're binge watching, anything that you want to share. We want to know who you are. Also joining us today is our host. Happy early birthday, man, to our membership committee vice chair, Terry Treadwell, vice president of potholerepair.com. Also with us, we have our panelist, Autumn Robinson, regional manager with Bernstein Management Corporation. Autumn is also PMA's membership committee chair, going on her third year, right, Autumn? I think that's your third year now. Next up on our panel, right. Yeah, see, I know. Next up on our panel, we have Larry Edmonds, commercial account consultant with American Pest. Larry participates in so many committees and councils here with PMA, but I do want to point out that Larry is PMA's Summer Escape Golf Committee chair. And last but certainly not least, our third panelist, Jamie Gonzalez, Senior Community Manager with LiveBE Communities. She is also a LiveBE mentor and is Optify Leadership certified as a recent grad from our PMA's annual leadership development program, which is a 6-month cohort program made available to all of our members looking to boost their developing leadership skill set. And I will tell you, we are pleased to have Sarah Patterson with us. So if you do have questions about that program, shoot her a message. She'll put her information in the chat so that you can maybe consider looking at future opportunities to participate in that program. Now, with that being said, Jamie unfortunately had to navigate one of the many unforeseen obstacles that sometimes occur on our properties and may not be able to join us, but worry not. If we miss chatting with her today, rest assured, we'll make sure to brag a little bit about her over 17 years of accomplishments in this industry and her active role in PMA. So I know all of you are very eager to get into the discussion with this superior panelist, but first, let's take a moment to thank our 2024 corporate sponsors. First up, we have our 2024 Platinum sponsors, Tepfer Construction, Resident Hero.
Sorry, I put that out there.
And Air Solutions. We have our 2024 Gold sponsors, American Pest, Brothers Paving and Concrete, Capital Canopies, ESSI Electronic Security Services, Inc., Hawkins Electric Service, JB Klein Landscaping, Minkoff Company, Planned Companies, and potholerepair.com. And we have our 2024 Silver corporate sponsors. We have Berkshire Residential Investments, Donaldson, Finley Asphalt and Concrete, Quest Insurance, PC Richard & Son Builders Division, Rain & Son, Orndorff & Spade, Thomasville Restoration, and TRC Engineering. Big thank you to our corporate sponsors for your continued support. If you are on this call and you're interested in learning more about how you can become a corporate sponsor, contact me. I'll be sure to put my direct contact information in the chat for you a little bit later in the session. All right, we cannot forget to take one quick minute to remind you all about the upcoming events and programs that we have. Guys, there are so many events and programs that we have on our calendar. I couldn't fit them all on here. So I decided to just put in our in-person events, and we will put a link to our calendar in the chat so that you can go at your leisure and take a look at all the programs that we have and disperse that throughout your organizations. You can put it on your social media, share all of that good content. First up this Friday, we have our PGCPS, our Career and Technical Education Dress for Success Day. In March, we have your in-person two-part workshop, in-person crafting your professional identity. That's going to be in Arlington. Not too far from now, we have our Leasing and Maintenance Summit, which is going to be in April. And so far, but yet not that far away, we have our Summer Escape Golf and Tasting Social on May 20th. We have our Lobster Bake, Lobster High class of 2024. It is sure to be nostalgic on August 15th. We have our award ceremony also, and that is going to be on November 7th. So, for a complete list again, I remind you to please make sure you take a look at our calendar events, but you can also follow us on social media. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, make sure you turn on your notifications. Also, make sure you're subscribing to our weekly newsletter, because that's also a really good way to get those tidbits of information quickly. And that way you can plan your calendar accordingly, because if you're like me, if it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. So let's get these things on your calendar, gang.
One question about the calendar. Danny asked a question, said Friday is the 23rd, right? What did we say wrong? Did we say something wrong, Danny?
20th.
Yeah, the clear day says Friday.
Yep. Nope, you're good. Look at that. I am changing things as we speak.
Thank you.
And he wins the prize. She wins the I'm Observant prize.
Yes. Very, very, very true. Absolutely. All right, guys. So the next thing that I want to go through with everybody is an opportunity to do a little bit of a quick tutorial for what I like to call the Command Central. And I know you're eager to talk to get into the conversation with your panelists, but I want to make sure that you all have an opportunity to navigate some of the tools, what I like to call like your primary tool to help you be successful within your membership. So I'm going to do a couple of different screen shares with two different versions of the Member Compass. There's a Member Compass visual that will be seen with where some of the perks will only be seen by associate members or product and service providers. But then there's another little bit of a version that will be different for our management professionals, because if you are the primary user of a management company, you're going to be able to see all the various company properties that you manage on your list as well. So there's a couple of things that I'm going to go through. Keep in mind, you may not be able to follow along, but that's okay. We're recording this, and then afterwards, I'm going to send the recording to you as well as a PDF tutorial so that at your leisure, you can look at it and navigate. So let's get to it. For anyone out here also that as I'm going through this, if you have come across any tips that you want to share as we're going over this, please unmute yourself and jump in. All right, gang. So you should be able to see on your screen right now something that says Member Compass. Super quick, the way that we're going to get there, and the reason that I didn't start from the very top is because I want to keep time in mind. Keep in mind that your tutorial will actually get you there from start to finish. But when you go to our home page, what you're going to do to get here is you're going to click on this membership tab, and you're going to go down to where it says Member Compass Portal. And this is the page that you'll see when it comes up. No matter who you are, from the dashboard down to payment methods, these few little tabs here, everyone can see these tabs. Where it varies is if you can see the company and if you can see the people. These two little tokens are only tokens that can be seen by the primary user of a company. So if you don't see these, you are not listed as the primary user. If you have questions about that, please reach out to myself or any of my colleagues, and we'll be more than happy to share more information with you, because perhaps this is an opportunity to make an update. Maybe there is someone that we have listed as a primary who is no longer with you or no longer in this region, and we want to make those updates. But this is where it varies. So what you're going to be able to see the moment you go here is you'll be able to get quick access to our bulletin, an opportunity to check out the weekly newsletter that just came out and upcoming events, which the only reason that is blank right now is because I started an update this morning and I cleared it out, and now it takes me a little bit of time to get it back. That's on me. It'll be back by the end of the day. Another good tool that you'll be able to see is over here in this corner is it tells you when your membership expires and when you should start expecting a dues invoice. If you don't want to lose access to your account, take a look over here to see when you have this information. The next tool that you're going to see, and look at me, guys, I'm all paid up. If I have any open invoices, those invoices will appear here and it'll be bullet pointed, listed down. And at that point, you can either pay in full or you can click the particular item that you want to pay. A really great tool, especially if you're the primary user, is you have the ability to look at all the past invoices that you've had. It'll tell you if you have an invoice, if you've been credited. For instance, if you had an event and that event and you canceled in time, there's a way to tell if you received that credit back. You can view and print PDFs if you need to have a copy for your accounting department. But the really key point is, again, primary users, is you can also see what the rest of your team is doing. What are they participating in? Are they making purchases? Whatever information you want, not only for yourself, but you can also see that for your team as a primary user. If you're looking to see what kind of events you're in, I know that sometimes you guys are always on the go and you don't necessarily know what you registered for. If you're not sure, go to your member compass, click on your events, and you can see what you have. But even more importantly, you can add it to your calendar, because if it's not on your calendar, it's not happening. Your orders are a little bit different. If you're purchasing advertising, for example, in a publication, or if you have a specific type of sponsorship, that's going to be in this orders list, because it's it's a recurring thing, as opposed to like a singular event type sponsorship or advertisement. That's where you'll be able to find that information here if you have any. And if you think that you're supposed to and you don't see anything here, please reach out so we can take a look at it. I'm going to keep it moving. Again, we're still in the section that applies to all members, no matter if you are a primary user or not, is your profile. You will know that you're in your profile because your name will appear at the top. And then even more to the point, it'll tell you the company that your name is listed under. So property management professionals, if you are a part of an on-site team and you open up your list, you open up your profile here and you see that you're listed under the parent company, but you are an on-site team member and your property is not listed, then we don't have you listed in the right spot. This is an opportunity for you to reach out to myself or my colleagues so that we can make that update. Still rolling through the login, that's a given. Your payment methods is if you want to add credit cards. Keep in mind, if you do add a credit card to your account, your team members cannot access that credit card information. So for example, Larry, if you add a credit card and you're the primary user, Brian McQuaid, who works at American Pets, can't access your credit card information. Okay. All right, gang. So here's where it's going to vary a little bit, and this part might get confusing, but just hang in there with me. These two tabs, as you remember, I said that these are the two tabs that you will only see if you are a primary user of your company's account. This is where you can update your company information. And what appears, this is what will appear in the directory. So if I am a person looking for your company's service, what I see in the directory is whatever you've put in to your company profile. You click on this. The first thing you want to put in there is the email. Who do you want me, a person looking for your company service, to reach out to? Should I reach out to you? Do you have a general inbox? Do you have, are you perhaps the person on the marketing team and you want them to directly reach out to someone on the sales team? Whatever email you put here is the email that that individual will see when they go to the directory. Same thing applies to the phone number that they will receive, the email. And then when we get down here to the billing address and the shipping address, the shipping address is the physical location. If I want to come see you at work, this is the address I'm going to put in here. But perhaps your billing address needs to go to the corporate office in Texas. This is where you can change that information as needed. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Associate members on this call, you receive 3 complimentary products and services per your account. You can add additional for $25 each, but to focus on the 3 additional ones, this list, guys, is vast. I could scroll on it forever. If you do not have 3 items listed, then you're missing out on an opportunity to be listed that many more times in the directory. If you do not see a service on the list, again, I cannot reiterate this enough. Please reach out to myself or my colleagues so that we can make sure that there's an opportunity to make sure your product or service is effectively listed. The designations, certifications, and credentials. We are in the company tab. This is for your companies. So if you are a woman-owned small business and you have that certification, click on it, get that on there. There might be companies that specifically want to work with woman-owned small business organizations. Same thing that if you are a disabled veteran, small business, there's an opportunity to click on these options. If you have questions about these credentials, please reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. Here's an opportunity where you can then add your social media. Social media is so important, gang. Everybody is constantly in there. You want people to follow your company. They want to see what's going on. Get this information in the system. There is one quirk that I do want to point out. Your Facebook and LinkedIn is the actual URL, whereas Instagram and Twitter are the handles. So in the Instagram and Twitter spot, if you copy the URL and then paste it, it will not work. So if you do have issues with that, reach out to us and let us assist you. Add your logo, your company logo. Nobody wants to work with a ghost. Put your company logo in here, make sure it's up to date. You can resize and crop as you need to make it work. And then be sure to add your company's bio. Oops, I scrolled too far. It's always great to add photos, videos if you have it. Your only option as of current that we're offering is you can add a photo, a direct link to your YouTube channel video, a Vimeo post, or a Wistia link. If you need help getting any of navigating through those particular platforms in order to get that uploaded, reach out and let us know. All right. Last tab before I show you the property management professionals link. People. Oh, I love this one. We are always on the PMA staff making updates to profiles. Listen, people come and go and you change jobs or you move or perhaps you're just not in the region, whatever the case may be. You do not magically fall off this list because you're no longer directly with the company that is servicing this region. You have to make these updates. If you are the primary user of your account, you have the ability to remove people. You have the ability to give someone management access. So someone with management access mirrors your ability as the primary user. You also have the ability to make edits to someone's profile. So, and it looks just like yours would look. If I click on one of my colleagues here, I have the ability to then go into her profile and make any updates or edits that I think need to appear. All right, you guys still with me? Someone give me a hand clap. I love it. Larry's clapping. He's muted, but I got to clap and that counts. All right, guys. Last one, and then we're going to jump into the panel. I'm going to flip my screen. Tell me if everybody, if someone can look at and tell me, all right, Larry said yes, he sees the change. Fantastic. So what you guys are seeing right now is my management company profile. So this is me saying that I work for a property management company, not a service provider. All of the links are the same. Where it differs, management company members on this call, where it differs, if I click on companies, I not only get to see my parent company, so we're talking corporate and regional staff, but then I see all the properties that I manage. So here, my management company, Patterson Property Management, these are our properties that we manage. And then I can even say, oh, look, one of my properties, someone on this on-site team made a purchase and I need to figure out what's going on because we don't want that to be late. So now I need to go and do some investigative work to figure that out, which I can easily go do by going back and clicking on any of the balances that I have. So this is me, I have a balance. This is how I can get that particular balance paid. Going back into our companies, you also have the ability to make edits to your individual properties. The great thing, and the setup is the exact same. The great thing about this is if you have your property manager role on that property field, we can give them access so that they can log in themselves and make updates to their specific property. They're not going to affect the parent company. They won't get any additional access. All they'll be able to do is ensure that that property has a logo on there. If you're perhaps you have move-in specials, there's an opportunity for you to add that link in there as well. And then the very last link, management professionals, is when we click on people. You get to see all the people on every property that you have. Because I've been playing around in this, it came up a little different, but it defaults to alphabetize by name. If you simply click on the column for company, it will sort all of the individuals that you have listed on that property by that property's name. So at ABC Properties, the only person that I have listed is Lauren Hill, our assistant property manager. But then I can go look at the next 5 properties and I see that I have some opportunities because I do have 3 people listed, but they don't have their job titles listed on here. You might be asking yourself, why is that important? Oftentimes PMA we not only do we have councils that are specific to various roles, but we do have content that is very focused on that particular role. So why not give everyone an opportunity to ensure that they're getting the content to their inbox that's specific to possibly benefiting their role? It's a great tool. I think once we get that to be kind of a common practice, just a natural thing, then the content will flow a little bit easier. But I encourage getting this information updated. You can have them I can reach out to Saquon Barkley and get him to get his stuff updated. Or if I'm really feeling that I have a lot of time on my hands, I can make the update for Saquon. All right. All right, gang. I am going to stop share. Woo! Did you guys know I could talk that much? Don't
Yes.
say it, Terry.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? Don't get me going because I may not be able to stop. Listen, I just want to remind everybody, just one more quick footnote. I went through that really, really fast. Worry not. I assure you, because I know that you've all carved out time in your day to rewatch these videos and go through these tutorials on your own. I'm going to make sure that you all get access to look at this and you can share it with your teams. Again, myself, Sarah, Bianca, Evelyn, anyone on the PMA staff, reach out to us and let us assist you, because if you're like me, all information is great information, but only if it's accurate. So let's get it in the system, guys. All right, that's enough for me. 30 minutes of straight talking. I think we're ready to work with our panelists here. So, Terry, without further ado, it is all yours, sir.
Thank you, Candace. I don't know about the rest of you, but I definitely feel way more confident navigating the benefits of the member compass, regularly updated now that we have learned this, and looking forward to the video you send out, because I missed a couple of spots, but you're talking awful fast. I'd like to thank everyone for jumping on and joining our discussion today. As Candace mentioned earlier, please feel free to join in the conversation along with our panel. We would love to hear from each of you. So please don't hesitate, jump right on in. With that being said, team, let's jump right in. Let's get started. Autumn, you are the chair of the membership committee and a regional manager. How do you find time to be active with the committee initiatives while navigating the duties of your career?
Terry, it's pretty simple. One is managing your calendar. Like Candace said, if it's not on my calendar, it ain't happening. And two, what I have recently kind of adapted is that multitasking doesn't work. So I monotask now, and it really does help me make sure that I'm making time for all things work related and PMA related so that I can allocate my time appropriately to make sure that everything is done and gets the attention that it needs. But also, just simply put, it's easy to find time for something that you enjoy. I enjoy being a part of the PMA team and having a company, working for a company that really supports my volunteer time with PMA is also really helpful. So, when you enjoy doing something and you don't really get any pushback from your employer, it's easy to make time to do it. And also, the PMA team really makes it easy to be a part of a committee because they're so supportive.
Well, Autumn, thank you for those excellent insights. Larry, my fellow associate member, how about you? You're active on several in several associations, but specifically with PMA, you're active on so many committees and councils, and you're the Summer Escape Golf Committee chair. What are some best practices you can share that help make your active participation so seamless?
Well, I would say carving out the time, making sure that you put down your schedule is your schedule. I know that every now and then you have an emergency pop up and you might not be to make a meeting or you might not be to attend an event that you were trying to go to, but if it's on your schedule, make sure you adhere to your schedule. And with me, it's my phone and my laptop. Without those two things, I don't know how I would survive because everything's in there. I know one time we did have a problem at work. Christy can probably attest to it. And they had a problem with laptops and the phones. And I thought I lost my phone. Man, I was going crazy because my whole world was in there for the next year. So I have my event set up for not only today, but all the way to the end of the year. So I know exactly what my schedule is going to look like every month. I can add things, I can delete things as I need to. And it just keeps me focused and on point to make sure I'm not missing what I really truly want to be at. And like Autumn said earlier, the team kind of makes it easy for you. We got a national schedule now that kind of tells you what all the different organizations are doing. So you can make sure you're looking at that schedule and kind of looking at where you want to be at on event days. And then certain events that you want to always adhere to go to. So we'll get into that a little later, I think, with one of the other questions. But, so just keep it on schedule, make sure you're adhering to your schedule. Don't try to deviate too much from that. If you do, you'll get confused and you'll get lost. So.
Thank you both. I agree with you. PMA staff is amazing, and time management is probably the linchpin in starting anything. So I do appreciate those answers. Let's move on. PMA offers a ton of programs and events to meet everyone's needs. What are some events or programs that you have participated in that you found the most rewarding with your membership goals? Autumn?
I would say the first one is the one that impacted me the most was the Get Involved meetings. Even though I had participated in PMA by going to the expo for years, it wasn't until I attended a Get Involved meeting that I actually got involved in PMA by joining one of the committees. So that was a, impactful event for me. But also, I've really enjoyed the expos and especially how they've kind of evolved over the years. And, now we have seminars that are, included with the expos. So it's not just walking the, vendor floors, which is also great as well. But, just really being an impactful event. During COVID, it was really nice to have the legislative updates. So because everything was changing so fast and in regards to landlord tenant law, So it was really great to have those updates to kind of keep us in tune with what was changing or what was staying the same or what we could expect. But the biggest one would be to get involved.
Thank you, Autumn. How about you, Larry?
Well, everybody knows me as Fun Larry, so I like the fun events, like the August socials that they used to have, and the summer escapes, and the expo and the holiday parties that we used to have. So those are the mass attended events. But what I found most interesting was I looked at a couple of other committees because I've co-chaired and co-chaired quite a few, and I found that some of the smaller committees really fit my needs directly. So I ended up joining a couple of those committees just to see, if I liked them when I went out. What I always tell people in the get involved meetings is go to committees. If you like what you see, you come back. If you don't like what you see, look at another committee. Don't just not go to any committee, but look at other committees till you feel something that fits your needs and fits you, your personality. So, I'm going to say look at all of them until you find the ones that you have a niche in, and then try to make sure you attend all the big events because that's where the mass and force is going to be. If you really want to get out there and shake some hands and meet people.
I love that. I just want to add in there too, because I'm looking at some of the people who are here and participating with us today. And I'm not going to put anybody on the spot, but if there is anyone in joining us, we have several other committee and council chairs and vice chairs and even members that I'm seeing on the call. If you all have anything that you want to add with your perspective on events or programs that were impactful, I would love to hear what some of our audience or attendees have to say, and take it back because I also know that some of y'all have been part of PMA for a really long time. So I am nostalgic and I like hearing everything present, past, and we can talk about the future soon too. No pressure.
Anybody particular on the call you'd like to hear from, Candace?
Well, I think Danny's got to tell something. What you got, Danny?
I was about to say, yeah, I agree with Larry about the committee meetings. That is where I build my best relationships because I see the same people every month. And you really get to know people that way. So for me, and I picked up more committee meetings since everything's still virtual and I'm able to do some back to back. So I'm seeing even more people now than I was before the pandemic. So that would be my recommendation.
I love that. I love that. Absolutely. And I think it's also really good too. Danny made a really good point because we're virtual, the ease for you joining into a committee or council, you go right to our calendar. Every single one of our committees and councils have an individual sign up. So, if you don't want to commit to the official calendar invite, that's cool. You might still get it, but you can definitely pick and choose the meetings that you want to participate in. I love that we have that tool at our disposal. Awesome. Thanks, Terry, for letting me interject.
Oh, it's no problem. What I'm hearing here, we're going back to the calendar, time management, because everyone does stay really busy. I think to myself and, looking at Larry and looking at Autumn, and, I probably could learn a lot from you on how to stay busy and keep up with you because you do a lot and you do it well. Larry, when you started in this industry, how long do you think it took before you started seeing your ROI, your return on your investment?
That was a good question. When I read that question over and I looked it over and I said, I started thinking about that. I got lucky in the beginning and I made a little bit my own path, but I also got fortunate enough to run into people who took me under their wings immediately and kind of pushed me out there into the groups. Carol Worley at one time was the executive director of the organization. She got me out there right away. I started asking her questions about how to get involved. I went to my first meeting, which was a November meeting. Didn't have a clue. And anybody at the meeting didn't know a soul. I just came from the automotive industry. So I had no clue what I was doing in the property management industry, not a drop. And I said, well, what is this all about? And I saw a bunch of people walk around with suit and ties on, and people were sitting down. Everybody was mingling with each other. And I met a gentleman sitting at the end of the table and started talking to him. And me and him ended up having a drink together, a little bourbon. I'm a bourbon guy. And ended up finding out this guy was Mr. Bizzuto, Tom Bizzuto. Never knew who he was. Didn't even really have his name. But I just walked up and started talking to him and ended up meeting him. And then I just kind of flourished from that point. So I saw some immediate results. So, you know, I know that a lot of the young members get involved. We see them at the meetings and they're kind of like passing out all these business cards and running around trying to meet everybody and not really focusing on anybody. So I think you need to take a little focus time when you're getting involved in the organization and, you know, meet up with folks and get involved and spend a little time with the people you're talking to. People don't, you know, you don't know who you don't know until you don't know them. So you want to make sure you get to know them a little bit before you just say, here's my card and I want to try to do some business with you. You know, I don't think you're going to get a lot of business that way. Somebody sent me something just a second ago saying, if you're not in the relationship business, you're out of business. So it's all about relationships in this business.
That's a
Excellent
keeper. I
insights.
like that one.
Yeah, Larry. Larry, can you also go on to talk in these relationships that you built? Um, Definitely within the industry. How did you use the staff of the associations to help you move along?
That was the easy part. You know, they were very forthcoming and helping out and making sure that I was getting involved in things. When I had questions, I asked. You know, no question is a good question unless you ask it. You know, and then I just would ask questions. You know, a lot of times they would say, I reckon this guy's asking a lot of questions, but I never felt that coming from them. I felt
Right.
comfortable when I asked the questions. They answered them, they gave me guidance. You know, they told me the same thing, Larry, get involved in committees, get involved in committees, get involved in committees. And I was like, well, committees, I had never done anything like that before in the automotive business. We didn't have committees, you know, we had industry things, but not committees. And they said, come to the events, you know, get the chance to get out there and meet people. So I was like, okay, well, that sounds like good stuff. I think I can do that. And I just started doing what they told me to do. And you know, I met folks like Danny and Carrie and a few other folks that were senior members at that time and had a little more experience in the industry and kind of took me under their wing and pushed me out there a little bit. You know, so we want to do that for everybody. You know, I'd turn around and try to do that for as many people as I can.
And Larry, thank you. Sounds like what I'm hearing from you is the get active, be active, and to have direction. Thank you so much for that. Autumn, how about from the perspective of a property management professional? What does ROI look like from your point of view?
As far as the association is concerned, it's really not a number. It kind of goes along with what Larry was talking about. It's relationships. In my industry, we like vendors that we can trust. And when you build those relationships, you find out who you can and can't trust and who will, you know, be there in a pinch, because emergencies are an all-time thing in in this industry. And you know, so when you build those relationships, you really do get that return on investment because you have people that you can depend on. And that's the biggest thing, I think.
Outstanding. And those relationships, of course, you find within the association. And as Larry said, you have to participate, whether you're on the associate side or the property management professional side.
And
And
Terry, can I add one quick
course.
thing too? Because Danny made a really good point in the comments earlier about associate members on this call. You know, if you haven't already signed up to participate in the associate membership council, I mean, they meet every other month. You know, so six times a year, gang. And it's virtual. I definitely would encourage that because, you know, Larry, you made a very valid point, and Autumn too. Not only is it important to make the relationship with a potential client, but you want to build a relationship within each other as well. We all need someone to refer. And I enjoy, when I think back to my associate member days, I learned about a lot of the things in the industry by way of the people who I built a connection with. And it made me feel empowered because then when I went out to a property and I'm selling paint, right? Which everybody, we're all good. Like my walls are white and I'm happy, right? but I'm to put while I'm out there, I had an opportunity to kind of lay eyes on anything else that kind of stood out. And because I built a relationship with a fellow associate member that offered that service, I could speak to not only the work that needed to be done, but then I could put a name to it, and then I could build a gap, like build a bridge, not a gap, a bridge via an email introduction to someone who can provide that service. So it's really good. People, you know, it's good to know. Yeah, I got a lot of 2 cents today.
Thank you, Candace, and thank you, Danny. What I'm hearing is ultimately ROI will vary for everyone, but it comes down to getting yourself visible if you're an associate member and understanding that no lead is a bad lead. You can team up with other associate members, as Candace said, to help grow your business and to be able to provide service, and more eyes the better. We work as a team. It's like a net that we cast over the property management industry. ROI from the property management professional side is not only having the chance to connect with reputable service providers, which is of the utmost important, as you said, Autumn. I mean, emergencies come up and you have to have somebody you can trust, but also in your attendance of events and programs, you should be able to walk away, and I believe you do, with at least one nugget of new information that will elevate your career, whether that's a new supplier partner or education or an insight on something that's happening in the industry. Let me ask, where does someone start if they are joining PMA, even if they're just participating for the first time?
I
Autumn?
would say pick a committee. You don't have to stick with it if you don't like it. If it doesn't work for you, you can always try it out. But pick one. Pick one and jump into a meeting. And if that doesn't work for you, then pick a different one and jump into a meeting. You don't have to sign a contract in order to join a meeting. You just have to fill it out and see if it works for you. But honestly, picking a committee and getting involved is the best way to really be active and get the most out of your membership. Danny spoke to it, Larry spoke to it, others have spoke to it. And I think that from my experience, that's really true. Even though I had went to, the expos before, I never really took advantage of my membership with PMA until I got involved in the committee. And that's when I started building the relationships and really getting to know the members. And, that's where the value comes into play. So the easiest way to get involved and get the value is picking a committee.
I just want to touch base on what Autumn just said too, just to piggyback a little bit, is she said get involved. So what that means is join a committee and participate in the committee.
Yes.
So don't join a committee just to sit back and listen to the meetings all the time and hope that, somebody sees you on the screen. Participate, ask questions, bring forth ideas. Everybody's looking for new things, and you might have the next new thing that we want to see. The expo has evolved over the decades since I've been in the industry. It's evolved over the whole time that I've been involved in it, all these different organizations that we have in committees. They've changed names, they've changed appearances, they changed dates. We moved from August Social being in this month to this month, from Lobster Special being in this month to this month, Expo being in October to April now. I mean, things have changed. So there could be the next new idea, could be your idea. Yeah. So bring stuff to the table. Come to the table with some stuff to suggest. Everybody wants to hear it, so you're welcome to bring it forth.
Well, could you guys and I want to piggyback on what both of you said. So what could let me say figure out how to make this make sense.
While you're thinking on that, Candace, while you're thinking on that,
yeah,
I want to reach out to Linda Silva real quick because she brought up an excellent point.
Oh, that is a good point.
Yes, Linda, would you speak to joining leadership? Because that's being on a committee is the first step, but the exposure you're speaking on this becoming an association leadership member, can you speak to that point, please?
Sure. I was involved with Community Service Committee for a few years and just as a committee member, and would go to events and kind of see people here and there, but didn't really get to know them that well. We'd kind of go do our work and then leave. And then I was asked to be the co-chair and then eventually the chair, and I did it for numerous years. And I will tell you, once I became involved at that level, I didn't just get to know the people within community service. You get to know the people in other committees. You get exposure to the PMA board, all the people that work at PMA and their office. And it just brings your level of membership up to a whole nother, I would say it's a level. You just pop up a little bit because like Larry was saying, it was either Larry or Terry, we're saying you can't just go to these meetings and sit there, or if they're on Zoom, kind of have your screensaver. I have mine on right now, sorry. But just have your name up there I'll put myself on camera. I feel bad now. But just have, because I was doing a little work, people, sorry. But just kind of put yourself out there and talk. And I know it's hard. I'm not a big public speaker, but being more involved will give you more benefits from being in PMA, definitely.
I
Thank you.
concur with that, Linda, because when I joined a committee, I also joined, somebody said, oh, you want to join? You're going to be my co-chair. And I said, what? Wait a minute. That's a lot. Can I just sit in the meeting in the back and let me just, observe? But I think throwing me into that co-chair position really elevated my experience. So I agree with that.
Outstanding.
Yeah,
That's
and I
an
think it
excellent
lets
point.
it lets you have a voice. Otherwise, when you're sitting and you may not agree with everything that's going on or how things are being done, but if you don't step up and voice your opinion and participate on that level, then you can't really talk smack about anybody else that's doing the job.
That's right.
Amen. Candace, appreciate that, Linda. Thank you for jumping in there.
No
So,
problem.
didn't mean to put you on the spot, and appreciate your
Oh.
participation always.
Hey, you know I was participating because I was in the chat, so
Yeah, you
I don't
did.
mind.
Yeah. Hey, Candace, you wanted to make a point there?
I do. I was thinking back to our January, or actually it might have been the last associate membership council meeting of last year, but I feel like it was the January meeting, and I shared that I was connecting with a new member at the time, and we were talking about all the different events and programs, and they admitted that while they are in sales, they do great interacting with people that they know, but they get a little intimidated because it's just them. They are a small shop. So participation in PMA, it would probably be just them. They'd be the primary user, the billing contact, the whole nine, right? And their question to me is well, I'm gonna use their exact question. Is it odd that I am a little stage fright, if you will, to go to events because I know I'm going by myself? And I'll tell you, my response to them is, well, build a connection. First, come to the associate membership council and connect with someone there. You know what services you provide. What are some of the services that you see? Connect with someone that offers those services and go out there. But I'm just curious. Like that was my response to that individual. But looking at everyone on this call, I know that oftentimes I'll go to events and I will only see you from your company there. And I'm curious, what gives you the confidence to go as the only person from your organization?
I would say familiarity. Once you build those, familiar faces and you have that confidence in your relationship with these associates, it's easy to go to an event by yourself because you know that you're going to have somebody to talk to, even if it's just in passing. Myself, I'm very introvert, so I am the person that's like, I don't want to go if there's nobody that I'm going to talk to. I need to know ahead of time who am I going to hang out with or who am I going to sit with. But it's become very easy over the last years because I have several connections that I know that I'm going to be able to connect with and have a good time with.
That, and Candace, I would say personally that the property management industry is a very welcoming type industry. And once you get past that front door and you start meeting people, it's like, oh, it's almost, I dare say, family. You get to know, but you develop friendships, you develop relationships. It's all right there, and everyone's really open and really nice. I mean, this is a great industry to be a part of.
Absolutely.
Just to throw another note in there, and Danny and some of the others online that have been with the organization for a while, Mike can attest to, never be afraid of your competitor.
Yes.
Yep. Never be afraid of your competitor.
I would love
when
to
I first got in the industry, I saw these different pest control companies in there, and I was like, man, should I go up and talk to these people and get to know them? These guys are my competitors. But then I said, hey, what better way to get to know my industry than get to know my competitors? Yep. So
I got to know my competitors. Yes.
So never be afraid of your competitors.
Carrie or Danny, do you have anything to add on this topic? Or would you? I know you do.
Like Larry said, I'm not afraid of my competitors either. In fact, I'm friends with most of them. I traveled with some of them. But yeah, like I was a new person once, and I remember walking into a general membership meeting and somebody recognized that I was kind of a stray dog with no home and just walked right up to me. But yeah, like any of us that have been around for a while are always happy to introduce new members to other people. So don't be afraid to ask.
Indeed.
And you know, another good thing too is that, first of all, that is an awesome point, Larry. And I'm probably going to ingrain that somewhere that I can see on a regular so I can constantly share it. Like a little quote, Larry Edmonds, right? I also would say go to the directory. If you want to know who else is a PMA member that offers the same service, go to the directory. And look, first of all, check and make sure your services are correct. And then go see who else says they offer those same services as well. Just saying, that's a really, really good point. I love that. Well,
Hey,
so we're getting close to the time. Go ahead.
Before you do this, so we've heard from the veterans. Leticia.
For reading my mind. I was waiting for you.
She's waiting to come out, wasn't she?
Yeah, I mean, how long you been active in PMA now?
It's 2.5 years. It feels like a long time though,
Right.
because like you said earlier, you know, you build a family relationship, right? But I was one of those, you know, coming into this PMA is a huge association to the ones that I've been to. So I felt overwhelmed. I was like, I know no one. My first time, you know, and it really is for me. I felt like not only the competitors, and of course, Inner Solutions, I have Rashad, that's, you know, the director now. So she's a huge competitor. However, I become really, really good friends with the whole team. And so when I first started with PMA, you know, I look at people like, who is the Larry of the group? I hate to put you out there, Larry, but you want to become friends with Larry, with Terry, with Dan, with Danny, with Carrie, with all of you, of course. You kind of pull up that one vendor that like, I need some introduction. How do I get into just speaking to the other members? And you all have welcomed me. I know, you know, again, for like my first time, you've all welcomed me. It's like, hey, do you know Leticia? She's, you know, in the multifamily, you know, staffing industry, and just making those connections, those little ones, I could take it from there. But that first, whoa, for me, but yeah, it's that overwhelming at first, and just really talking to the you know, the veterans of the group, that really helps and makes great in introduction. So that's
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Leticia.
Thanks for pointing me out. You always do that.
No. And everyone else, I just want to say thank you to everyone for attending this panel today. I'm gonna turn this back over to Candace immediately because she's kicking me underneath the table here.
Well, we are getting really close to our 11 o'clock marker, and if there's one thing that I've learned as us along as well as all of the other associations around us, we're all virtual. So usually at the top of every hour there is something else that you've got to run and log into. So I don't want to run this over. So I just want to say again, big thank you to Terry, our host, membership committee vice chair, to Autumn and Larry for carving out some time to be on our panel discussion, to every single one of you that were able to join into the conversation. We will have these every single quarter. There will be a different host. There will be different panelists. You never know. I might reach out to you. I'm fairly certain I just shot Larry an email like at 9 p.m. saying, hey, you want to be on my panel? And that's how it goes. So be on the lookout. You might be next up one of these quarters, gang. Again, thank you so much. Be on the lookout for the follow-up email. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks,
Make it a great day on
everyone.
purpose.